All right, welcome to What the Tech, the show where we slice through the marketing hype to get to what's really going on. And today, man, we've got a story for you. It's about the supposedly unstoppable force of AI running smack into a very, very unexpected, and let's just say crunchy, immovable object.
So, has the great AI revolution finally met its match? You know the story we've been sold, right? That generative AI is this incredible juggernaut, just steamrolling its way through every single industry. But what if? What if that unstoppable force just hit a wall? And not just any wall, but one in the most bizarre, unlikely place you could imagine. Well, it looks like the answer is a big yes. And that limit? It's...
Yeah, ordering tacos. I'm not kidding. It sounds like the setup to a bad joke, but believe me, this is a huge, very real roadblock for the whole AI hype train.
So let's break this down. To really get what's happening here, we have to start with the news as it's being reported. And the front lines of this whole battle are, of all places, the fast food drive-thru.
Okay, so get this. Since last year, Taco Bell has been rolling out these voice AI ordering systems to more than 500 of its drive-thrus. Now, on paper, that sounds impressive, right? A huge deployment, a leap into the future of fast food, but in the real world, oh man, it has been a total mess.
I mean, just look at the feedback. Social media is just flooded with people complaining about everything from simple glitches to insane delays. A lot of people are just, weirded out having a conversation with a robot. And then you get the trolls, the people who are intentionally trying to break the system with these ridiculous orders. Like, yeah, I'll have 18,000 cups of water. And look, this stuff is funny, for sure, but these aren't just one-off edge cases. No, they expose a really fundamental flaw in how this whole system was designed.
And listen to this. This quote, this isn't from some random angry person on TikTok. Nope. This comes straight from Taco Bell's own Chief Digital and Technology Officer, Dane Matthews. I mean, think about that. When a top exec, the guy in charge of the tech, publicly admits that his own system lets me down. Well, that's a massive red flag. It's basically shouting from the rooftops that this thing is seriously, seriously unreliable.
But here's the thing you've got to understand. This is not just a Taco Bell problem, not by a long shot. What we're seeing here is a pattern, and it's happening across the entire fast food industry.
Just look at the scorecard. The pattern is playing out everywhere. You've got McDonald's, who completely abandoned their first big trial with IBM, and now they're trying to reboot the whole thing with Google. Wendy's, they're pushing forward, expanding their system. And then there's Taco Bell, now publicly rethinking their entire strategy. Let me tell you, if this technology was a home run, a clear win, we wouldn't be hearing all this careful corporate speak. We'd be hearing victory laps. Instead, we get hedging and pivoting.
So what's going on here? Well, this is a textbook example of what we in tech call the last mile problem. It's like this. The AI can do the first 90% of the job perfectly, in a quiet, sterile lab. But it's that last mile, that last 10% in the messy, loud, unpredictable real world where it all just falls apart. We're talking screaming kids in the back of the car, super custom orders, and just all the beautiful weirdness of human beings. That's where it breaks.
Okay, so that's the news. That's what you'll read on the surface, but this is What the Tech. We don't do surface level. To really understand what's happening, you have to read between the lines. You have to decode the corporate PR. Because that is where the real story is hiding.
So, let's do a little translation. When you see a headline like, Taco Bell is rethinking its AI strategy, that's the PR spin. That's the sugarcoating. You want the blunt take? The real take? What that actually means is, this is a controlled retreat. They're pulling back, but they're trying to make it look like a smart, strategic pivot.
Yeah, this is pure damage control, plain and simple. So let's put on our decoder rings and translate some of the corporate jargon they're throwing around so we can see what they really mean.
All right, first up, flexible deployment. Sounds pretty good, right? Innovative, agile. But what it really means is that they're scrambling behind the scenes to build backup systems so a human can jump in and secretly fix the AI's mistakes. That's not a strategy, people. That's a patch, a Band-Aid. And they have a fancy name for this patch, too. They call them human off-ramps. They try to frame it like it's some cool new feature, right? A thoughtful blend of man and machine. But let's be real clear here. This is not innovation. It's a lifeboat. It is a straight-up admission that the core tech just isn't good enough to do the job by itself.
Oh, and this one's a classic. We're in an active conversation with our franchisees. Come on, this is corporate speak 101. What that really means is they are getting an absolute earful from the poor franchise owners on the ground, the ones who actually have to deal with the broken tech and the furious customers day in and day out.
And finally, we get to my personal favorite excuse. It's really, really early.
Ah, yes. We hear this all the time in the tech world, don't we?
It's a brilliant move, really. It's how you reframe total failure. See, it's not a broken product. No. It's just growing pains. It's the perfect, convenient way to lower everyone's expectations and completely avoid accountability for shipping something that just doesn't work.
So, okay, let's pull back for a second. What does all this mean for the bigger picture? Well, this whole TacoGate saga, it perfectly captures the giant canyon between the hype around AI and the brutal reality of actually trying to deploy it in the real world.
Because behind all the happy talk, these companies are staring down some huge strategic risks they will never, ever mention in a press release. First, they are way overinvested. They've poured so much money into this they can't just walk away now. Second, there's the reputational risk. Every time a video of their AI messing up goes viral, public confidence just erodes. And finally, that friction with the franchisees? That could honestly derail the whole grand strategy.
And here's the part that is just so telling to me. We are, 3 years into this generative AI boom? And we're still watching some of the biggest companies on the planet struggle with the most basic question of all. Is this product even fit for the job we built it for? This isn't a sign of a maturing technology, folks. This is a classic, textbook case of product-market misalignment.
And that ultimately is the real heart of this story. This has very little to do with a company thoughtfully rethinking its strategy. No, this is about a company doing frantic damage control and wrapping its failures up in the soft, fluffy, forgiving language of a learning journey. Which really just leaves us with one final question to chew on. Everybody in tech talks about the last mile being the hardest part of deploying AI. But after watching failure after high-profile failure like this, you really have to start wondering, when it comes to the chaotic, messy, unpredictable world of dealing with actual customers, is that last mile problem the entire journey? Something to think about. That's it for this time on What the Tech.